championship fight in 2023 is more than alive, and it's coming from a team in green. Aston Martin has really proved themselves so far in the beginning of 2023. Starting off the season with 2 podiums coming from the GOAT, Alonso himself. I don't really see him as the greatest of all time, but I love the guy. He has really proven what this car can do and where it can really take them. I mean, from going 7th to now solidifying that P2 position for the Aston Martin team. I have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of news articles coming out, and some things that I want to get off my chest coming with the FIA rules and really Aston Martin sport. Before I get into all of that, thank you all so much for the support. The channel is doing amazing, all because of you guys, and you guys give me just that motivation to make these videos much better and really produce them as much as I do. I upload almost every single day, so hit that notification bell, subscribe when you can, and hit that like. Thank you all so much, and let's get into the Aston Martin video. Okay, so Saudi Arabia was a Grand Prix that I thought they would do better on when it came to like how the car performs, but obviously I knew that the car had a lot of drag. The car is a front-ended car, so this does suit the car when it comes to tracks like Jeddah, and I think Australia will also be a pretty strong suit for them in comparison to a track like Bahrain, where the rear is extremely important and how easy you are on the throttle is very important. On here, you're practically on the throttle for 75% of the lap. I mean, Aston Martin was on the throttle for 73% of the lap. Full throttle, I mean. Like, that is a pretty insane statistic, meaning that they were just holding it down to get the most out of the car. What that also means is that they had to start that race with more fuel in the car in comparison to other teams. So what does that entail? They were slower in the beginning. And yet again, Alonso was able to keep up with Perez within, was it 12 or 13 laps before that they actually ended up like Perez getting that advantage? He was within that DRS the whole entire time, and Perez was pushing. This Aston Martin car is pretty close to actually competing with Red Bull. For the whole race, when you just look at it purely off the end, the beginning, and the whole race in general off of its 2 stints, the Aston Martin was only 4 tenths behind. With Alonso holding a lot in really his reserve to actually go even faster, and his very last lap was only 2 tenths off the fastest lap that Max Verstappen put in. Only being 4 tenths off the Red Bull is a huge achievement because that car is a beam and looks perfect really all around the grid. Their engine is faster. They don't have really any drag on that car. Alonso was able to keep Perez behind without DRS, meaning, I mean, it doesn't really mean much. It was 3 laps, but it does mean that that car with development can actually get to that Red Bull level, which is important because it looks like Red Bull is way ahead, when in reality, they aren't. There are a couple teams that are pretty close up there. I would say Mercedes can get there, and so can Aston Martin. Ferrari look pretty far behind as of right now, but we're talking about Aston Martin today and what I think they can achieve and what is coming out for them. Alonso got his 100th podium, which was a gem of a race. Alonso raced perfectly in here. There was really nothing much that he could do. I think that the penalty that he was given in the beginning was not, like, I don't understand why they gave it to him. He lined up a little bit to the left, which gained him 0 advantage. Maybe even gave him a disadvantage off the track, probably being even dirtier over there in that corner. So I don't really understand that penalty. And then giving the 10-second penalty and trying to justify a rear jack being onto the car and not even actually touching the car as of yet. I mean, just stupid. There's been so many penalties from the past that weren't given to people when they had the rear jack completely onto the car, lifting the car. It was a stupid penalty to really give, and the decision by many people was looked at as a dumb decision. It shouldn't have even happened, and that's why it was overturned. Aston Martin actually went and showed 7 different videos of the rear jack being on the car and those teams not given penalties. So it shows the FIA is a lot more strict this year, and some of these 2023 rules are pretty weird. Lance Stroll was having himself actually a very good race, was having the best overtake of the race in my opinion. He could have easily been in that top 5, maybe even fighting with Russell for P4. Could he have caught Alonso? I'm not sure. Alonso was sticking with Perez, was making a big lead from even the Mercedes cars, and had a lot in his tank to even go faster than the Mercedes cars, meaning that I think Lance had a big potential to get an awesome result here if it wasn't for that engine failure. Or, well, we really don't know, but I think it has something to do with the control electronics, which isn't great. You can only have 2 of those.
Ferrari would know. Aston 23 might lack some single lap pace, but they were pretty quick in Jeddah where the track wasn't suited to them. They came with a lower downforce setup. With less drag, they were trying to go for a quicker top speed to actually compete with the other teams. So this would usually result in having lower downforce. The team was still amazing on its downforce. Sector 1 was the fastest by Aston Martin, and even Alonso had the fastest Sector 2 in qualifying multiple times, with Lance putting in a purple first sector right before the very end of qualifying and getting all our hopes up to maybe somehow Lance pulling a pole position.
Row for Fernando Alonso. As it stands, Lance Stroll has gone fastest of anyone in the first sector. It's not over yet. Can he knock his teammate off the front row? Stroll over the line, and it all fell away in the final few corners.
It didn't happen, but man, that was a banger of a lap in the beginning. Even he was sad that he ended his lap not as good as he wanted to, and that third sector wasn't that great. But that car proved something today to many people, and really that they will be a thorn in the side to Red Bull. Red Bull has any issues in the race, that Aston Martin car is there. With only being 15 seconds behind, having a lot in the tank, while Red Bull also did too, their car is still a very base car. Red Bull have reliability issues by the looks of it so far. A couple things complaining, even saying that in Bahrain, if Checo didn't hold back, they wouldn't have completed that race. Same with Max. Max needed to hold back as well. That's why they drove those laps so much slower. Like, people are talking about the 7/10 difference, which isn't realistically a 7/10 difference, but yeah. The car is extremely dominant in braking zones, so we should see in Australia an even closer pact with Aston Martin and Red Bull, because there are plenty of braking zones in the Australia Grand Prix, and a couple of medium speed corners where that Aston Martin car dominates. High speed is where Red Bull takes over. Yet again, in high speed though, they still lost at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. High-speed corners was Sector 1. That was the importance of the Red Bull car, and the Aston Martin car was very competitive with it. Its straight line speed is something that's getting worked on, with a huge package coming in Baku and in Imola for the Aston Martin team to improve their straight line speed. They are coming back with vengeance. Still, they'll be kicking. The car is extremely balanced, as we can all tell. Alonso says he's still not even 100% fully compatible with the car, which is a huge thing, that the balance isn't 100% to Alonso's liking, meaning still room for improvement even on the base car, but with upgrades coming and shredding drag, which is the key thing. We know that that AMR 2022 was also a very draggy car. This car seems just as draggy, but perfect in everything. The balance is perfect, it's low speed cornering, it's braking. They improved everything that needed to be improved. Now all they need is the straight line speed to really take the battle to Red Bull and to Max Verstappen. Lance and Fernando seem like the perfect pairing, and Lance is already showing that he has that potential to even fight along with Alonso and really bring that car up. He seems happy, motivated. He's not even really 100% yet with his wrist, so we gotta really see him when he's in his full form. We gotta remember, this guy missed all of preseason testing and only had a couple of practice sessions with even a engine or electronics problem in FP2, and still coming back and performing like how he did in Bahrain. There's a lot to be shown. This Aston Martin team, huge potential. It's only really growing from here, and the packages coming for this team are exciting to hear. I'll be there with you guys when the packages are announced, and I know exactly what the upgrades are. So what are you guys' thoughts? What do you guys think of this Aston Martin team? Is the 2023 battle still as good as it can be? Is it far from that? Is Red Bull far ahead? Let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.